Both Sides of the Conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm Both Sides of the Conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both Sides of the Conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Sunday, so you know what that means, community. We're going to have another Sunday conversation, and y'all know every Sunday we are here to bring these conversations to our community that is needed. Sometimes it's the taboo conversation, sometimes it's the stigma conversation, but our job is to have both sides of those conversations, and today we have a phenomenal group of panelists. Today we are talking about breast cancer awareness. As you all know, it is October. The month is coming to an end, yes, but it's still October. Is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're going to have that conversation. I know earlier in the month we was trying to pull it off, and we had to reschedule, but we're here today. Today is going to be a great conversation. I know for some folks in the community, this is an emotional conversation. It's very triggering, even for me. As you all know, last year I lost my mom from this battle, and again, we're going to continue to highlight it, uplift it, make sure that our community is aware, make sure that folks see folks that look like them and say, hey, if they could go get tested, if they could go get checked, if they could go through the process, so can I. It is a challenge. It is a struggle. But again, together as a community, we can walk together and deal with these issues. Also, it's a beautiful day. My co-host is back, Tony Rochelle. She's been, out for a minute. Everybody's been praying for a speedy recovery. She's back, and we're happy to have her part of today's conversation. Tony, welcome back. Say hello to the people, Tony.
What's up, community? Happy Sunday. Hi, John Henry. I'm so excited for this show today. Just for the people that don't know me, I'm Tony Rochelle, one of the Both Sides of the Conversation co-hosts. Yes, I've been out. Thank you, community, for the calls, the messages, and the prayers. I'm back, and I'm ready to keep going. Keep ascending, like I say. So let's get it.
Thank you. Great to have you back. It's just always a great day. And I know your Cowboys won, so it makes it even a better day for you. So I'm going to go ahead and represent that to all my Raider fans out there. We know what it is. We'll get to it. But our Niners is in a good dogfight right now. But community, just great to be in space with you all. Before we get started, just want to say thank you to all the community partners for all the work that has continued to go on in our communities. Our Both Sides of the Conversation team, in partnership with a number of our community partners, has some amazing events this weekend. So shout out to all the folks that continue to impact our community. Shout out to Mo Magic Collective Impact for the Wizardly Night. The Halloween Haunted House was off the hook. The kids had a blast. We was out there in community. It was fun. Just great to be in community with folks just seeing people come out, giving the young folks an opportunity just to be youth and enjoy the free candy, the food, just the environment. So just thanks to the community folks, thanks to Brittany and Uncle Stank, and to the African American Arts and Culture Complex, to all of the folks at Buchanan Mall that came out together. When we talk about solidarity in our community, we are talking about leaders, organizations coming together to make sure that they impact our community. And over 500 families was out there able to be served and able to just go out and have a great time. So thanks to all of the people behind the scene who worked together to get that event off the ground and moving. And it was just great to see how community could come together. Also, shout out to Rafiki Coalition. We had an amazing Jubilee Human Medical Resource Fair that took place. Also, shout out to all of the amazing elders who came out for the senior walk and breast cancer walk yesterday. Great to see all of you folks that came out in the community. Again, more and more things continue to happen. There's a number of events. I can't get to all of them. But again, thank you, community. Okay, in these times that we're going through, just the amount of community organizations stepping up to the plate, making sure that our community was impacted. Yesterday, over 200 families impacted with gift cards, food, free resources, mental health, acupuncture. I mean, it's just phenomenal to see what was going on in the community. And there are more of those events going on. Also, shout out to all of the folks who had the Halloween event out at Gilman Park yesterday. Just amazing to see our communities continuing to work together. Again, there's so many things that we still have to address and deal with in our community, but it's nice to see those little hidden gems and those little events that keep us moving. So just excited about that. More stuff going on. Shout out to all of our Time Done folks, CSJ folks, who were working this weekend down in San Diego, making sure that these policies that are going in play to impact our communities are getting there. We are getting close to the voter months. Please do your part to get out and be a part of this process. Make sure your voices are heard. There's a lot of changes, a lot of things that are going on. Make sure you get out there and your voice is heard during this election season. We have some phenomenal Educational Thursday guests coming on. We have some more elected officials that are running for office that's going to be coming on in the next couple of days leading up to the election. So great stuff coming. Just hang in there. We got a lot of stuff going on, and we appreciate all the continued support. But again, none of this happens without you and amazing folks behind the scenes here at both sides of the conversation. So thank you all. With that being said, we're going to jump into our news, some of our community events that's coming up, and then we're going to jump into some phenomenal folks that are here to have a great conversation about breast cancer awareness and talk about the journeys that some of these folks have been through. And I think it's going to be powerful and a big inspiration for our community. But with that being said, Elon Musk, as you all know, has taken over Twitter. All right. And since he has taken over, he's already putting out words that there's going to be massive job cuts. So many folks over there are nervous already, as you all know, not just at Twitter, across this country, due to the increase of inflation, the GDP growth. It is starting to be a problem, okay, community? So again, pay attention. There's a lot of organizations, large institutions that are laying off folks at high numbers. I mean, we're getting 500 to 1,000 people a week is starting to happen as discretionary funds start to get, short. Gas is getting short. I mean, the type of money that folks are needing to make it is getting tight. This holiday season is going to be very, very difficult for our communities. So again, if you have resources, you have access to services, please reach out. Let's make sure that our community folks are being impacted. Also, our Both Sides of the Conversation organization, we will be impacting 10 families this holiday season. We're going to reach out to some of the families who's been impacted by gun violence, domestic violence, some of the things that have been taking place over our community. We're going to do our part and make sure that those folks have a great holiday season, and some of our elders in the community as well. So we're looking forward to being a part of that. And we're going to be doing some phenomenal things during the Thanksgiving months. It's just important right now as community folks to reach out and support other community folks in these times of need. As time is moving back an hour, the nights are getting darker earlier, the days are getting cooler. We have to be careful, be mindful. I've been watching over the news. There have been a number of incidents taking place across this country, here in the Bay Area as well. People being robbed at the malls. Be careful, community, while you're out. As we are headed into these holiday season months, people are desperate and they are taking risks and chances that sometimes they normally would not take. Also, sad news, Nancy Pelosi husband was attacked in their home in San Francisco. This is, a despicable act. At the end of the day, we always say here, no matter what your political party is, what your beliefs is, we cannot allow our politics, our views turn into the point where we result into violence or any kind of hate or attacks on anyone. Okay, it is unacceptable, community. You have a right to have your beliefs, you have the right to have your perspective, but whenever your perspective or your views become hateful or they become threatened or any kind of way, it's unacceptable. We have to remind that if that is you out there and you're struggling with how to handle things, going about it by trying to attack people for your political views is not the way. So again, our prayers is out to the Pelosi family and to all the folks that's impacted by it. This is not just one thing. There's been a number of threats, different things happening to a lot of the elected officials, a lot of folks that are running for office right now. It is terrible. Okay, as United States citizens, we should be able to be human enough to have our differences of understanding agreements, but never we should result to threats, violence, or anything of that nature. We are in terrible times in this country. But again, we can work together, and that's what we're going to continue to do our part to have these conversations in a safe space where we can just talk about things. We don't have to agree, but we should be able to have peaceful dialogue and conversation without violence, anything of that nature. So we'll continue to work. We'll continue to do our part, but there's more work that we have to do in our community. Also, there was a deadly Halloween disaster in Seoul that left 150 people dead in Korea. So again, things are happening as partygoers went out. They were impacted. It's just tragic news. Things are still happening. I know there was a couple of incidents across the Bay Area this weekend. Again, this violence in our community is still impacting us. And we're going to have to all do our part to continue working solidarity to deal with gun violence and to deal with the people in our community. There's an issue when it comes to conflict management, anger management. Mental health is real, and we're going to need more work. We're going to need more community folks to come together in solidarity to handle these issues. But with that being said, we're going to jump into our community events, and then we're going to go ahead and get into today's topic. The first event up is the Bayview Hunters Point Trick or Treat and trail that's happening tomorrow, Monday, October 31st, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The trail along the 3rd Street, Bayview. For more information, reach out to the Bayview Magic, B Magic. Their contact information is there. Great event for community. Get out, learn some of the trails and some of the things that's going on in the Bayview. Also, have our kids to have a safe place to get some candy and enjoy the Halloween evening. Also, the Harvest Festival is free event Monday, October 31st at 5 p.m. This is going to be for our folks in the East Bay at 204 Bailey Road in Bay Point. For more information, reach out to the number that you see on the screen. For all of our folks in the Antioch Bay Point area, they're going to be having their event. So please reach in and be safe out there as well. The Happy Halloween Trick or Treat route is also happening Monday, October 31st from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. This is happening over in the Lakeview. Okay, 2022 Lakeview Avenue in San Francisco. For more information, read out to the contacts below. Another great event, safe place for kids to come get candy and things of that nature. As you all know, there's been an increase of fentanyl in our community. A lot of it is packaged looking like candy, Skittles, and different things of that nature. So parents, be careful while you're out there trick-or-treating. Make sure you're checking through your kids' candy. But again, these events that we are naming are very safe, family-friendly events. Go there, get some free candy, and bring your kids around some positive folks. Also, Knowledge is Power, the breast cancer experience, free Thursday, November 3rd, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is a virtual event. Please reach out to the contact information if you would like to be a part of that. There's more and more events happening all the way to the end of this month. So we're just grateful to be a part of it and announcing it for our community. Also, our high school test prep class is still open to all 7th and 8th graders. Parents, if you have 7th and 8th graders that are getting ready to go into high school, please get them ready to take the HSPT exam. Classes that are already started, but they are still going on. They are still allowing folks to come in, reach out to SF Rebels. My guy, Nate Ford, is putting this together. It's a great event to get our young people ready and ready to take these tests as they're moving on in their educational journeys. Also, the monkeypox vaccination is still available every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at 701 Alabama Street here in San Francisco. Please make sure if that is you, you need to get that vaccination. Go there every Thursday from 11:30 to 2:30 p.m. Great space. And they have enough medical folks there to give you all the education and information that you need on those events for that vaccination. Also, the Peace Park is still presenting their Friday night fun every Friday night from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Hamilton Rec Center at 1600 Gary Boulevard. Community families, Okay, it's a great time to take our young people, to get them to meet other young people, a safe place. They are doing a number of things at these Friday night fun. They're cutting hair, bringing in mental health services, bringing in other resources for our young people. Please get your young people out there in the environment. We're trying to get our young people to do things so that they're not out there taking chances and doing any violence in our community. Also, the Saturday Family Fun Day is still going on. They are doing family trips, sporting events, and much more. Every second and fourth Tuesday, reach out to my guy, Nate Ford at SF Rebels. They are trying to keep our young folks and families engaged with events throughout the winter months into next year, making sure that families and young folks have things that they could be involved with, and they're doing some amazing stuff. So please reach out to my guy, Nate Ford. Also, the 33rd Annual Pee Wee Basketball League registration. The first week started in October. I think they are still looking for coaches to come support it. If you are a father or you're a mentor, if you're a lady in the community that want to give back and work with some young folks, the SF Rebels are looking for coaches to come volunteer and give back to the community. If that is you have a sports background or something you've been wanting to do, go sign up. Check out to my guy, Nate. The information is on the screen. They are still looking for coaches to come help support their leagues. Also, the Smart Money, San Francisco Smart Money Coaching is happening. If you would like some free confidential financial guidance, anyone living in San Francisco, working or receiving service in San Francisco, please reach out to the number below. We are trying to build financial wealth in our community, okay? We want to leave generational wealth. If you're struggling with your finances, you don't know how to make a budget, you don't know how to get out of debt, please reach out to these folks. They are some powerful folks that know what they're doing, and they're opening their doors to help impact our community. So please take advantage of those services and call out to them today. Also, celebrating the Black culture. If that is you out there, you like to celebrate your Blackness, there is a grant that you can apply for up to $7,500 that you could do for Black preservation events in the Tenderloin, Lakeview, Sunnydale, Visitation Valley, and OMI. If that is you and you're looking to do one of those events, or you would like to bring some Black history to our community, please go to Into Action. The information is up on the screen. They have many grants that you could apply and go out and do one of those phenomenal events. Also, our Both Sides of the Conversation capacity building fundraiser is still going on throughout the new year. If that is you out there and you're like, hey, I love what you guys are doing, I want to see how I can support, please go to our capacity GoFundMe, support us by making a donation. All donations go back to help impact our community, our young folks, all of the things that y'all see us doing. Check us out. See some of the work we're doing is very impressive stuff. But again, none of this could be done without community support, philanthropists, and other folks who support the work that we do. And if that is you and you're like, hey, John, I don't have the money, but I have the time, we are still in search of volunteers. You could come volunteer some of your time, come help support the organization. There's a number of organizational needs that we have from our volunteers. If that is you and you have a skill set, you say, hey, I could bring this to both sides of the conversation, and I think this is going to be beneficial to our community. Go to our website, sign up, come on, check out Join Our Squad. Come be a volunteer and give back some of your services that way. And then again, another way you can support, if you're like, hey, I don't have the time, but I want to do something, hey, you could go to Amazon Smile. Sign up on Amazon Smile. Choose Both Sides of the Conversation as one of your charitable organizations. No extra cost to you, but 0.5% of all your shopping. A percentage of that will Amazon will make a donation to help support us that way. You could do that as well. And ladies, don't tell me you're not shopping at Amazon, okay? I see all the Amazon trucks in the community. Every day I see the Amazon truck, okay? I see y'all sneaking on the porch, hiding the packages before your husband come home, okay? I know you're spending money, okay? So why not help an organization out while you're spending that money? And again, if you support us, I promise you, I won't tell your husband you're spending money, okay? All right, but again, choose Amazon Smile if you like to help us support us that way. And every time you shop on Amazon, that'll help us out on the back end. So thank you very much for all the community folks who already signed up. We appreciate you all, and we thank you very much for that. Also, if you haven't been following us, please follow us on all of our social media handles. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Follow us. See what's going on. We're doing a lot of things. We're all over the place. You see both sides of the conversation everywhere. That's our job, to be in the community, to be in space with the people. But check us out. You can follow out what events we're at and things that we are doing. Sign up to our newsletter. Find out what's going on in the upcoming months, our conversations. We got our youth coming up. The youth conversations are amazing. Y'all need to check them out as well. So again, Follow us on all of our social media handles at Both Sides of the Conversation, and we'll make sure that you are part of what's going on and up to date what's going on with community. Also, our next live show is this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Every Tuesday, we have a segment called Hidden Gems where we highlight Black and brown businesses, community leaders, organizations that are doing phenomenal things to impact our community. If that is you, you might know somebody who got small business. Nominate them so that the community can know who they are, where they at, and support that business. That's what we want to do. We want to build an ecosystem for our people, and we want to make sure that people who are starting their businesses, who don't have the marketing and media money, they can come on here and get some of the community folks to support them. And then for all of the phenomenal people that's doing things to positively impact our community, we want you to come on and let the community know what you're doing. We want to give you your flowers, your roses while you're living. We don't want to wait till you're dead to tell everybody how great of a job you did in the community. We want to tell them now while you're living and give you that acknowledgement. So thank you all for continuing to do that. Also, this Thursday, we're going to have another Educational Thursday segment. Y'all know every Thursday we are bringing different community folks to come on to do a PowerPoint presentation to help educate our community. This Thursday, we got the California for Safety and Justice. They're going to be coming on talking to the community about the Senate bill that just been passed by the governor and some of the work that they are upcoming to do to help prevent some of the stuff that's been taking place and also impact our community. And then next Sunday, we'll have our next Sunday conversation. It's going to be a man cave. All of the brothers out there, all of the kings, I'm calling y'all now. I don't care about the football game. Ladies want to know, what do men want? Okay, the ladies is asking it. So fellas, I'm looking forward to all y'all signing up and come hold space with me. Okay, these ladies been emailing me. John, we want to hear what the men want. They always talking about women. We want to hear what y'all want. So fellas, please sign up. Okay, this is a great conversation. And then after that, we're going to have the sisters come on and talk about what they want as we're going to continue to try to build Black love in our community. We're going to figure out what some of the issues and some of the roadblocks is and how do we bring Black love back together. So again, we'll start with the fellas, and the ladies want to hear it, fellas, so they're gonna be watching. So make sure if that's you out there, please sign up so we can have a great conversation with community, and our ladies are going to be watching, and they're going to come back and address us. So get ready, fellas. It's going to be a great one. All right, with that being said, enough of me. Okay, I know y'all like, John, shut up. We heard enough of you. It's time to get to the conversation. All right, we're going to get there. Before we get there, I just want to read some quick statistics that came through about breast cancer awareness, and then we're going to start introducing all of our guests. And I know the intros are so long, it takes so much time, but we have to let the community know what's going on, okay? That's what we all about. But with that being said, as of 2019, breast cancer has become the leading cause of death for Black women. Black women are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women, despite lower incidence of disease. Black women are more likely to be diagnosed with advanced stage disease, which is usually most costly and difficult to treat. Black women are more likely to experience delays in treatment. Black women are less likely to receive recommended treatment. About 82% of Black women live at least 5 years after their initial breast cancer diagnostics, and compared to 92% of white women. That's concerning. All right, the higher death rates from breast cancer among Black women are also likely related to high prevalence of obesity and other health problems. Black women are just likely to have hereditary breast cancer as white women, yet their participation in genetic counseling and testing is very lower every year. That is very concerning. There's a lot of things that we're going to talk about in this, but I think this is very important. I mean, this is a triggering conversation for me. But again, we're going to get through this. We have some powerful folks who've been through the journey, and looking forward to hearing from them all. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start calling up each one of our panelists today, and we're going to give them all a couple of minutes to just introduce themselves to community, and then we're going to get started with today's conversation. So I'm going to start off with my sister, Fatima Holmes. Welcome to Both Sides of the Conversation for our breast cancer awareness conversation. Welcome.
Okay.
Holla at the people.
All right. Thank you so much. You got me there. I was hopeful that go at least second or third. But thank you so much. I want to give a special shout out to both sides of the conversation. I want to give a special shout out to you, John Henry, and your team, Shawnee Bennett, for recommending me for today. Again, my name is Fatima Holmes. I am from the community of the community. I am 54 years old, but I'm also a senior workforce development specialist for the city and county of San Francisco, the mayor's office, putting folks to work in the community with a special emphasis on reentry. Today, I want to talk about early detection and how important that is. I went for a regular and short mammogram yearly for my self checkup on September 15th. My whole world has been turned around within 30 days. I was contacted a little bit before September 30th to come in to do additional tests to insert a clip on the left side, to speak frank, of my breast, and then to my armpit, my lymph node, for additional testing. I was then called back on September 30th, diagnosed with cancer. And so again, just to get the phone call in itself, I considered myself pretty much healthy. I actually, when I got the call, I was on my way into Planet Fitness to continue my mental and spiritual and physical well-being. And I'll get back to that when we talk about the journey aspect for myself. But when I got the call, it broke me. Had to await the stage, which stage I was. I want to thank God and give him all praise that they caught it at stage 1. And when I got a call back, it was stage 1 versus stage 4. And I say it in that context for my mental acceptance, because I am still processing the fact of having it. I was operated on October 17th, less than 2 weeks ago. And I came out today. I was also honored today. Let me give a special shout out to the Hot City team. Wealth and Disparities, Gilman Park, honored me today for the first pitch or the first throw to toss in. Again, I'm still healing, awaiting a radiation, either chemo. I just want to say that I'm grateful. I want to talk about how important it is from the community, as a community member, person. First of all, just a queen. We're all queens and kings, but for all of us. But when I say in an aspect of a queen, just to take care of your body, how important it is. And I'm grateful for early detection. And I've been detected, operated on, and got a call last week from the surgeon that they got all the cancer out. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the journey, but I'm also grateful to take away what I can, is that I'm still here. I think this is a part of my journey as a survivor, as a warrior, a female warrior. I'm in pain as I speak, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't shame my face out of embarrassment, but to stand up, to speak not only to myself first, but speak to all the other women, no matter what race you are, kings and queens, to get yourself tested. Early detection is key again, and I just want to say that I'm thankful. My journey right now, I'm just going through my healing process, and I want to thank God for my faith. I think my mental aspect and how I condition my mind, and any other women on the line today, what you continue to tell yourself daily. And I want to continue to believe, even when I'm going through pain and challenges. I want to be grateful for everybody around me, my partner, my sister, Fotish Major, my niece, Queen, Tanisha Washington. I want to say special thank you for helping me with my prayer daily as well. Along my journey, Felicia Jones has been, Vivian, and my aunties. I don't want to leave anybody out. Most definitely Jean Farrell, Auntie Emily, Auntie Barbara. I just can go on and on. Those of you who love me and have prayed for me and lifted me, I want to thank you. And I want you to know that I'm going to continue to pray for you, but I want to continue along my physical journey, to be grateful first and foremost, and to continue this journey of healing, because it's going to be a lot as I go forward. But I'm just hopeful it doesn't come back. I'm open for any questions, or I'll end there.
Thank you very much. Hang in there as we get the other folks up here. Appreciate you, and God is good. All right. With that being said, I want to bring up Miss Loretta Thompson.
Oh, hello. My name's Loretta Thompson. I'm actually a 5-year survivor so far. Well, not so far, because I'm claiming it's over and done. But my battle was I I felt a lump in my breast. I went and had a mammogram done, and the mammogram didn't show anything. I got my test results back, and everything was fine. So when I go to the doctor, I tell my doctor, no, I feel something. So she sent me to have an ultrasound done. And when I had the ultrasound done, the ultrasound showed that there was something there. And the doctor was like, it looks like cancer. So, that took me for a loop right there. She's like, the shape of it looks like cancer, but we're going to bring you back for more tests. And of course, I had a biopsy. They did the test. Everything came back. Said I had cancer. They thought it was stage 1, but it ended up being stage 2. I went through my chemo and my radiation. I had fantastic family members to help me through my struggles, my battle, my journey. But like she said, early detection is a must. Self-exams, I can't express that to females enough. Self-exam, mammograms, do not miss them. Do whatever. And if something don't seem right, have it checked. Because, I'm sorry, my hair. Yes, because mine, it was like mammogram came back fine. But I'm like, no, something's not right. So if you feel anything is wrong, go have it rechecked. Have the doctors check it out. Because early detection is a must. Like I said, I got diagnosed July 11th, 2017. So far, everything's good. Little aches and pains, but everything is going well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. All right, we're going to go to Miss Serena Matthews. Welcome back to Both Sides of the Conversation, Queen.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. It's such an honor to just, have this opportunity. Just hearing the other ladies' just stories has brought back like so many memories. This whole month has brought back so many memories, and I feel like I'm about to get like choked up. Yes, I am Serena, and I am a breast cancer survivor and thriver, I'd like to say, because I feel like I'm thriving since my diagnosis. I was diagnosed on my 38th birthday. I am in 4 years of remission. Next year will be year 5. And it's only by the grace of God that I am, here and talking to you guys today. Thank you so much to my brother John Henry, to the entire team over at Both Sides of the Conversation. I love what you are doing. Keep rocking it out. Keep making an impact in the community. I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for the invite, and I can't wait to just dive in today.
No problem. God bless you. And, thank you for being here. It's always great to be in space with you. You are powerful. I've watched the journey. So it's just always a great honor to be in space with you. So, I'm looking forward to today's conversation. All right. With that being said, we're going to jump into our next guest. We have Ms. Tariq Spencer. Welcome to Both Sides of the Conversation, Queen.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I want to shout out Ayana for recommending me for this. My name is Takiri, and I am also a cancer thriver. And in October, actually, of 2016 was when I was diagnosed with stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer when I was 36 weeks pregnant with my son. My first child, I was 34 years old. And it's been a journey. But one thing I will say is God is everything. Like, I didn't do anything unless God told me to do it. I ended up taking first of all, let me say this real quick. I was misdiagnosed first when I was about 5-6 months pregnant. They did a punch biopsy, came back negative. They did a whole bunch of ultrasounds. They couldn't see anything. They did see that my lymph nodes was a little bit inflamed. And so it wasn't until I got a new doctor And they did a needle biopsy, and that's how they discovered that I had inflammatory breast cancer, which is very rare. Like only about 5% of people in the United States who get breast cancer have inflammatory breast cancer. And it was HER2 positive as well. You guys probably familiar with that. But anyways, I ended up doing chemotherapy, and I worked with a holistic doctor as well. I did integrative treatment, both holistic and conventional, because that's what God told me to do. And my first treatment was just targeted therapy. I was too scared to do chemo, I'm not gonna lie, but God told me to do that. And my doctor was like, only 10% of women or people who do targeted therapy only without chemo will it work for. And it ended up working for me. And then God was like, I want you to do chemo too. So literally like less than October I was diagnosed. So by like February, there was like no cancer anymore in my body. And like my biggest thing is always like many women say all the time, like trust you, like, when something's wrong in your body, you can feel it like in your spirit, to really, really trust that and to do what God tells you to do, like I really, really strongly believe that. So that's my story, and I look forward to sharing more and talking about this wonderful, taking the light, shining the light in darkness. That's why I say it's wonderful. So,
right, that's right. Thank you. We're getting started short. We're getting everybody up here today. It's gonna be powerful. Next, we'll bring up Yolanda Thomas.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So, thank you for having me on again. Just listening to all the other ladies is so inspirational. I am a 5-year cancer survivor this year, actually this month, October, and I'm grateful and I'm humble. And there's two things that I want to talk about. And basically, I was a triple negative, just means that it's more aggressive and that I'm not a candidate for pills. Some people could be a candidate for pills. And I was actually told that it's more prone to come back in women that have triple negative. But I never let anybody just tell me anything. It's all about mindset. My mindset got me through this journey. When I first got diagnosed and I had to do a lumpectomy, I had to do radiation and chemotherapy. Always take somebody with you to your appointment and always get a second opinion. So that's just a little bit of an introduction of my journey and what I went through. And also, you have to be prepared to go by yourself. You have to encourage yourself, because some people don't know how to handle cancer, the word cancer. They feel like, oh, you're going to die. So sometimes your family won't draw close to you. So I just want to encourage everyone to just continue to be strong and tell yourself you're going to beat this. And that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. Miss Evangela Williams.
Blessings, blessings. I've enjoyed everything so far. Ayana asked me to speak on this because she knows I'm a support system. My mother-in-law had breast cancer at 79 years old, third stage, and I was her support system. It just like the young lady said, it's important to have a good support system. I went to every meeting, every chemo. You don't have that all the time, but you got to get somebody that's your support system. I never said negative things. When someone said death, I said life. And I said, and when they said she was fearful, and I was like, no, God is not giving us the spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind. Everything they tried to say, I would find a scripture to turn that thing around. And I did not know that me being with her, they thought that I was her daughter. And I said, no, I'm her daughter-in-law. And they was like, wow, and being there for her. I was going for my mammograms every year. They found a knot or a mass in mine. And when they test, it was benign. And I thank the Lord for that. And I said, God, you helped me because I helped her. I thank you, Lord, And right now I have a titanium ribbon inside of there where the mass was, which was benign. They still have to monitor it every year. So this past three months ago, when I went, I got another pink slip, said no cancer found, and they couldn't even find the mass. The mass was gone, and just the titanium ribbon that I chose was still there without the mass. It was just absolutely gone. So I just thank God he's still working miracles, and I'm sitting among miracles, and I thank the Lord for that. I didn't allow my mother-in-law. Now she's 84, so she's a survivor, and she's 84. You have to have a good support system, because the minute you hear cancer, people think of death, but God is a God of life. He said, I'll give you life and life more abundantly. And I just hold on to scriptures, hold on to the word of God. And I wouldn't let nobody negative around talking crazy to her. I let them talk, so far, and then I'll stop them when they start talking about death. No, life. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but a power of love and sound mind. I just counteract it with the word of God, because you have to have I'm faith-based. I love Jesus. I love God. John Henry, I am just so honored to be here among the women that have survived this thing. I eulogize my sister. My sister actually had breast cancer, 4th stage, and I eulogized her in February, all back in Gary, Indiana. I was a little sad, but yet I was happy, because I know that to be absent from the body is present with the Lord. And I just believe you go from life and transition to everlasting life. I don't believe in death.
That's right. Very powerful stuff. I mean, I'm just happy to be in space with all of you. We have one more guest to get up, and then we can get into today's conversation. I know it's a packed house tonight. Community, be patient, but we're going to get there and get this plane taken off. Last but not least, we have Miss Deborah Hicks. Welcome to both sides of the conversation, Queen. You got to unmute yourself. Okay, there you go.
Okay. So thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure to be amongst all these other beautiful queens and survivors. And I just wanted to say, and thank you for my daughter, my co-host, Miss Toni Rochelle. Also, my story, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. So the first time that I came down with the C, cancer, was 2006. Found a lump, and I always had very lumpy breast, and I stayed on top of that. Always had my checkups. Went so far as to always, I didn't want to have the surgeries because I had so many, so I had them aspirated, and finally, there were a couple that I did have removed, and they would always come back benign, but this one wasn't. And so I ended up having a lumpectomy the first time. Then I had the reconstructive surgery. With the lumpectomy, the first time I did have chemo and also radiation, and did fantastic for about 10 years. I want to say sometimes too, Black women, a lot of us go through, excuse me, a lot of stress. And stress is a main factor towards a lot of our illnesses. We do need to also combat finding ways to de-stress. And that's something that I'm still working on. So that'll be another, I guess, event. The next time I found the lump myself, 2016. Uh, I wanted a second opinion, so I came all the way from Oklahoma to Arizona, went to the Mayo Clinic, and they said my cancer was very aggressive, so they wanted to immediately treat me, which they did, and I ended up having a double mastectomy due to the fact that it was so aggressive. So God is good. I'm still alive. I didn't have chemo the second time. I mean, I did have chemo. I did not have the radiation. You can only have it like once. So I just praise God that I'm still alive, still able to do, and God is still working things out. I am now 5 years uh, since I had the surgery. So
Yes.
God is good, and I'm just thankful to be alive. Thank you.
Yes, God is
Thank you,
good.
Jesus. Yes, He is.
Yeah. So with that being said, now that all of our phenomenal guests is here, we're going to go ahead and open up to the questions that community is going to have, the conversation. I think I just want to start off, because part of every topic in discussing is the education part. And there's so many young people in our community, and I think there's a lot of myths and there's a misunderstanding. So I think from all of you all experiences and lessons that you've learned, the first thing that I want to talk to about is, let's talk about the educational part around getting tested. A lot of times our
Yes.
younger folks, I remember we had this conversation last year, and they was talking about how younger folks need to go get checked. I know publicly a lot of our hospital entities and things say late 30s and early 40s,
40s.
but we're finding more and more young people at the age of 22, 23, 24 being impacted. Um, I want to talk to you all about that, and we could just popcorn style it and people could jump in, how important it is. I heard a number you said, the early detection. But again, how do we, not only as community, but our healthcare providers provide better, adequate information, resources, and information to our community? Because a lot of times we don't get that information. And how can we encourage our young people? Because sometimes young folks just feel like they're untouchable. It can't be me. It can't happen to me. But because listening to the statistic that 40% of Black women are more likely to die from being undetected, I mean, that should be a shock to our community. And we're going to jump into some of those numbers and why do you all feel like these numbers are jumping out proportionally in our community and how we can combat it. I mean, I think there's a preventative measure that we could do as community holistically. But too many times in the Black community, we are very reactive to stuff, right? We don't respond and we don't do well with, unifying and mobilizing until something takes place. But how can we do this as a community preventively and move things forward? So I'm going to open it up to you all to talk to our young folks. I know there's a number of young folks who said they wanted to watch today. What can you all say about the information you learned that sometimes we don't get from our providers?
Um, Unfortunately, like I know a lot of young people who have been diagnosed with cancer. Like you said, 20s, 30s. I was 30. She was in her 30s. She was 38. It's really like learning to advocate for yourself, and speaking up and not being afraid to tell your doctor, like, this is what I want. And your doctor works for you. Like even my nurses say that your doctors work for you. So advocate for yourself. Some people, if you can't get a mammogram or if you're scared for some reason, there's other ways. So you can get a thermography test where if it lights up, you can do that. Of course, you will eventually have to do other testing on the conventional side, whether it's biopsy or mammogram. So there's other ways to do it, but like, don't be afraid. Like, it is always better to do something early than it is to do something late. And there's options. And again, advocating for yourself is big, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. So do it. You know, that's my
Definitely.
take on it.
Yeah. I want to piggyback on what Takiri was saying. Definitely advocate for yourself. you're never too early or you're never too young to know what your breast normal is. And so I think that we need to start encouraging our young ladies to do those self checks. Like, we need to really encourage them to do that. And yes, science says we get screened at the age of 40. That needs to change. The only way it's going to change is if we get involved, and we challenge the lawmakers, right? Or we challenge the hospitals to allow us to have these screenings much earlier. As you can see, we were very young. I'm totally against waiting until you're 40. Totally against it. Another thing, if you request a screening and you are denied by your doctor, or you don't have insurance, there are other resources out there. There are organizations where they will actually help you. They will help pay for your screenings. But you got to speak up for yourself. You have to speak up for yourself. I just feel like if I didn't say anything, who knows, like, what would have happened had I not, spoke up, told my OB the experience that I had of a hard cord-like vein sticking up out of my breast 3 weeks before I even saw her at the appointment, and almost forgot to mention it before I left out of the appointment. But God brought it back to my memory. And I prefaced it in saying, I'm not really sure if this is anything, but I do want you to know what happened. And so speak up. It's not always going to be a lump. It's not always going to be leakage. It's not always going to be like a rash. Whatever is abnormal, whatever is not normal to you, say something. Yeah.
I think that's very important to say that because typically a lot of folks are looking for the breast, the most obvious signs. But I think that's what I was trying to pull out from you all today, to kind of help some of these younger folks who maybe it's not a lump. Maybe it's what are some of those feelings that are signs that you might feel from your body that will give them that trigger point to say, hey, let me go get checked. And again, how do we get the mobile services to our community? So many folks advocating for Black folks and the disparities that we impacted with, but how do we get our department, our public health, our hospital to mobilize in our community so that these checks are frequent in our community, and that there's options at different ways that they could get these services?
Thanks, John. This is Fatina. I want to tap in, and I just want to talk about the statistics. As you mentioned, I want to speak for myself. I was like 15 on my right side, my right breast, height school. I remember soreness around the nipple, let my mother know, then going to the doctor. And at that time, I had a benign cyst where they had to drain it, and I ended up being okay. I'm 54 now, and it's actually the other side that was affected and that I was diagnosed with. But I can think back to early detection, and had I known then. And so again, I'm 54 today. That means that had my mom took me sooner, I'm not sure. You understand? But at the end of the day, I think early detection is key on that. The other is just like you say, being mindful and being open and not saying it can't be you. I think that it's important to get our young ladies tested early on a continuous basis. I think yearly gives it enough amount of time to catch it. Again, early detection for myself, I'm grateful that it was stage 1 versus stage 4, and then continue to trust if you feel something, that's all. And I'll stop there. There's not any more questions, but yes. Early detection is key. And then the mental healing and the acceptance around it all, once it does happen, to get connected with groups, is very important. And I want to thank each of you ladies for sharing, because I took something from each and every one of you. So thank you.
All right, go ahead,
So I
Ms.
want to just piggyback off of that. One thing that helped me that I think we should bring back is when I started going to the doctor, and my mother taught me how to do breast exams. I was told to do it. I forgot if it was before the period or after the period. Maybe you ladies can enlighten me on which one it was because I don't remember. But early as a young girl, I remember I would do monthly breast exams. And as I got older, I didn't do them monthly, but I still did them periodically. And that's how I discovered my breast. And I have to be honest, the doctor kept telling me when I turned 40 to get my mammogram. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't. I just felt like, oh, I'm not gonna get breast cancer. That doesn't apply to me. And that was my ignorance, because had I probably did the exam, did the mammogram, it probably could have caught something. But mammograms doesn't always catch breast cancer. The second thing is sometimes you can have a little discharge. So for those of you young people, if you have a discharge, that could be a sign. And through my research, typically when you have breast cancer, it's not painful. I have a lot of people call me now and be like, oh, my breast hurt, I feel a lump. And I tell people, don't call me first. I need you to go get checked out first. And then I can just kind of share my testimony with you. And another thing, if you don't have insurance, the county hospitals are really, really good. Highland is good. General Hospital is good. And other Joaquin County Hospital, because I know a lot of people who have gotten breast cancer, and don't think just because you don't have insurance that they won't help you, because they will. Breast cancer is huge. John, like you said, I don't know the answer to how we can get more mobile services, but I will say if you have a family member that has been diagnosed with breast cancer, it's not good to wait until you're 40. Like I have a daughter, she's 29. I tell her all the time, daughter, you need to get yourself checked. Your mom is a breast cancer survivor. My aunt, Gail Bishop from San Francisco, she got diagnosed at stage 4. And they told her it was nothing they can do for her. But guess what? I don't know who talked about being an advocate for yourself, but she said, no, I want treatment. And guess what? She lived 13 years later. So always be an advocate for yourself. If somebody tells you no, you're too young, or they don't feel like you're a good fit, you can go somewhere else. Always get a second opinion and take someone with you to those appointments.
Ms. Williams, go ahead, Ms. Williams.
God bless. This is good. And what I see that my breast, when I had that mass, I didn't notice a mass in my breast by doing the breast exam. I noticed I had a bunch of lymph nodes that were huge under my arm near that breast. And they need to check those lymph nodes. Those lymph nodes, it was all bruised and hard to close my arm and things like that. And that's how they found that mass, because the examination didn't work. So it's best to tell your young people. I have 2 daughters, so I not only tell them to do the breast exam, but I also tell them to watch those lymph nodes under their arms, because sometimes there's a sign to tell them they need to go and have a mammogram.
I want to piggyback off of Evangelist Williams. We found mines in the left armpit, and so I was going to say that. So we teach them to do your self exams, your self checks in the breast, but it's so important to go up and around and underneath the armpit. Because when my doctor did the exam, after I mentioned it to her, the lump that she felt was under my armpit. And she's like, well, what is that? And I'm looking at her like, I don't know, what is that? And so, she said, you know what, I'm gonna send you for a mammogram. And so it's crazy because when she found the lump under my armpit, it was about the size of the knuckle on my pinky. By the time I had the ultrasound, it had grown to like a round bouncy ball. So it was a very aggressive growing cancer. When it's breast cancer, the primary spot will always be in the breast. However, the cancer can spread to other parts of the body. My cancer had already spread to the lymph node. And so that's why it's important to check up underneath the armpit. I mean, I can't stress that enough just because, that's where mine was found. However, what sent me there was that hard cord-like vein that was sticking up out of my breast. So you just got to pay attention to both of those areas.
Very, very important stuff. Go ahead, Ms. Deborah.
Yes, I wanted to piggyback off of what she just said. That is true about when you do find the lumps. They removed lymph nodes under my arm as well as the lump. So that was done the first time, and then the second time I had them removed as well. Not all of them, but they can check they call them margins to see how many over they have to go to remove that to keep that cancer from spreading to all parts of your body. So, yes, that is so true. The other thing that I was going to say is that, even though we are tested, yes, I think as you're taking or females are taking birth controls, I think you should check every month, give yourself that self exam. You have to. And early detection is the best, like she said, being diagnosed from a 1 versus a 4 stage. Then you have the best results of being cured from the cancer. And then the other thing is, the very first time that I found out that I had cancer or, had to face that fact, I really didn't tell my family because I had the fear of, you know, um, everybody says, "Oh, do this, do this, do this, do this." But when it's you, when it's in your court, that doesn't mean you're going to do what we're told to do. The fear overtook me. I held that in from my family because I didn't want them to know. And it hurt so bad. I was so devastated. I was so fearful. And I think that, we don't know what people are going through. I think along with setting up these health fairs and diagnosis, we also need to deal with the mental side of it of, you know, how to handle that situation because it's not cookie cutter. And, what do I do? How are they going to be? How are they going to act? Am I going to live? There's so many things that you are hit with. I mean, it's like a brick or a truck, and then you kind of have to get it back together and say, okay, I know I serve a powerful God. I know I trust God, but everybody doesn't. Everybody's not on that page. So, I think along with being diagnosed, we also need to have a part of that fair as to how to handle the stress, how to handle the whole devastation of I have it. And like you said, some people have the means to pay for it, have insurance, who doesn't. And I really today, including myself first off, would like to challenge everybody here in your community to go about seeing how we can bring about a health fair, health awareness of cancer for the community, for your community where you are. And I think everybody on this panel, we should start with us first. The other thing is men come down with cancer too. You also have to look at your family history. In my family, every one of my first cousins, female, have had breast cancer. Every one of my aunts have had breast cancer. Did not know that. And my one uncle, my dad's baby brother, and these are on my dad's side of the family, he has had breast cancer. So men need to be diagnosed or men need to be checked, and we need to tell men too. It's not going to be just a female thing, it's a community thing. And so I think that we don't hear about it as much. I don't know how they get cancer, but he came down with breast cancer too. So we are still all living, thank God. No, I have had, I take that back. My one cousin passed from breast cancer, and she's the only one, and that's still on my dad's side of the family. So, um, just wanted to relay that, and I put out that challenge for all of us.
Well, definitely, we are here at both sides of the conversation up to the challenge. I am in a number of spaces. We are talking about how do we bring medical services to our community. But I think, one of the things that you touched on that, just listening to you and Serena speak, just brought chills to my body because, I think about my mom. And like I said earlier, this conversation is definitely a tough conversation for me. And I think also, when we're talking about changing the narrative in our community, when we talk about these issues that impact us, how do we do our part is like the biggest question. And when we're suffering, and I felt like when you spoke about that, I felt like, that was my mom, right? She had the two knocks, right? She had a religious part of her, because she was a Jehovah's Witness. So she had a religious bound when it comes to medical and different things like that nature. And then she had the part of being a mom and just being in the community. And I think that's where we're failing in the Black community. Too many times these issues we have that we suffer inside is that we don't let anybody know. And then the next generation don't know. And when you talk about genes and how different folks in the family, a lot of times our family members don't know because that's how we was raised. Nobody tell their medical, right? They don't say nothing. So my biggest thing is how do we amplify the voices of the community? And that's why these conversations today is so important. This is why it's so important for you all to show up the way you show up, because vulnerability is what we have to show in our community. We have to see it to believe it. Whatever reason in the Black community, brown community, you have to show it. Okay, we just grow up like, if you don't show me, I don't believe you. And I think this is why these conversations are so important, because you see the people, you see the vulnerability, you see the openness, the transparency, and these testimonies are the ones who move our community forward. This conversation today is going to make somebody think twice. Somebody's going to check today. Somebody's going in the mirror and say, hey, let me check. Maybe I haven't been feeling something right. Let me go get checked or go to make an appointment. And then when you add in there the financial disparities, we have so many single families, so many single mothers, to the amount of time, the cost to take off the work to go and get these services can be a challenge for a family. We saw that during COVID. You take out the one person who provides financial services to the family, you could cause financial ruin for months and years to recover from that. So again, that's why I challenge the community, our health folks, Department of Public Health, across the board. How do we bring these services to the doorsteps of the people, right? And I keep telling these folks when I'm in these meetings, the community don't stop at 5 p.m. 9 to 5 don't work for the community. How do we provide these service after hours, on the weekends, the times that our folks are in the community maneuvering, everything is closed? That's the intentionality that we have to think about. How do we create that model? How do we make it impactful for our community? And then also, how do we get the Black professionals? All these folks are talking about equity, okay? How do we get these health institutions to remain, to stand in their principles and their values that they're saying when they talk about inclusion and diversity and equity? It's hard for our people to go into a hospital setting. There's nobody that look like them when we're talking about breast cancer. Are we talking about any cancer? Okay. So again, it's a lot of accountability. It's a lot of folks that we have to bring to the table to have these conversations. It starts with trust. There's been a big issue with trust in medical in our community for a number of years. And to change that paradigm is not just in the community, but it's also with the health providers. It's also with the insurances. There's a lot of discrimination, a lot of disparities that take place when we're going through these issues. And then the support groups, having the support, I think is very, very important. How do we create that sacred space where folks who are afraid, who are going through it, don't know, have that somebody that they could go to relate and say, hey, I could get through this because you got through it. So I think that's one of the most important things. But I hear you loud, Deborah. We have to change that in our community. We have to have more of our families. And I know it's tougher for the elders and generations before some of these young folks because they just didn't talk about stuff. And it breaks families too when you don't know, and then last minute you find out all this stuff. It's just a terrible blow. And it's just like, hey, maybe if I knew, I could have advocated differently. Or maybe if I knew, I would have been able to do things differently. Sometimes we cause that harm in our community by not saying nothing. So hopefully with today's conversation, you brave women coming here today, speaking to our community, we can start that change process, because we hear both sides of the conversation. Believe a healing process begins with conversations. And I think this is the Kickstarter, and we're going to move it out. And we're not going to just forget Breast Cancer Awareness Month just for October. We want to figure out how do we continue intentionally throughout the year to make sure that this is highlighted, is amplified in some kind of form or fashion, that folks are still remembering this take place too many times in this country. We highlight stuff for a month and then we on back to business as usual. And I think in our community, these are the issues that continue to impact us. And we need more of this happening more frequently, and having more brave folks and professional folks in our community to continue to educate our people. So I'll pass it on to the next folks. We're going to move it around. Go ahead, Ms. Tariq.
So another thing I want to say, in addition to getting tested, mammograms, however you decide to get tested, one thing that we don't talk about is the deficiencies that a lot of people have. Because after my diagnosis and I got tested with my holistic doctor, I discovered that I had a lot of deficiencies, especially in vitamin D, which I know a lot of Black people have deficiencies with vitamin D. And we don't talk about that enough. And part of the reason why I was able to even go through chemo and like barely have any side effects was that my holistic doctor was boosting my immune system. So we don't talk about that either. Like, there are a lot of different other ways, complementary therapies that will help people. And so I believe like our community should also get tested for vitamin deficiencies, because we know like when our immune system is low, that's when a lot of stuff can come in and start attacking our immune system. And that's where a lot of diseases come from as well.
So real quick, I want to ask you all, what do you think about this? Because we had a show earlier this year or last year, I can't even think now, but we had the midwives and the doulas come on this show. And we were talking about, how do we get the health doulas, right? Because I think you're right. When it comes to a natural person from the community, speaking with hospital folks, they don't know the terminology. How do we get health doulas in our community? How do we get those folks who can also advocate for folks in the community? How important do you all think that is? Is that something that we should be focusing on? How do we get healthcare advocates to actually advocate for folks for these services, for these checks? And then lastly, I'm working with a couple of folks at UCSF, and it's been a slow process, but I'm also trying to put together, how do we put a Black care book together for average folks in the community, right? Things to check. Because you're right. Sometimes you go to the doctor, you say, hey, I want to do lab tests, but they forget about this. Right. So I'm trying to work with UCSF, a number of our healthcare providers. How do we put a maintenance book together? All right. For somebody who's not connected with the health community, if I'm going in for my first time, I haven't been to the doctor in a while, whatever. How do we put something together so they can say, hey, I need to get checked for this, or my family's been impacted here. I want to get tested to make sure this doesn't happen. That's something that I'm working on, and it takes time. But I'm talking to a number of folks there, putting together a service provider. So when we're doing this maintenance care, when we go into the doctors and we filling things, how do we make sure don't waste the blood test just for the 5 things I asked for? If there's other things in there that I should be getting tested while you're drawing his blood, let's do it. Sickle cell is a big problem in our community. There's a number of diseases that impact the Black community that we don't talk about. Right. But a lot of us don't even know how to go get tested and check for it. So how do we put that schedule together? So when you go to this doctor that you don't know, that don't look like for you, you can say, hey, I need to be checked X, Y, and Z all the way down this list. If you're running these tests so that I can make sure that I'm getting all the things that I need. So
I for sure think that doulas are very important. I also think that, there are a lot of alternative holistic doctors, naturopath doctors, functional medicine doctors. They're called so many different, doctors who would be willing to help with that. Like Sometimes they will tell you to tell your doctor, okay, well, these are the things that you should also get tested for. Some people are more willing. Every doctor is different. No matter like if you have Kaiser, what have you, one doctor will be willing to do something or work with your holistic doctor or test you for this. Another doctor will say no. So it's all about having that information, like you said, and this is information that can be provided. So you can specify whether it's sickle cell, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, whether it's, whatever, high blood pressure. These are some of the tests, the general tests that your doctor can test you for, and you can advocate for that. You know what I mean? Like, just don't stop at one doctor. You can get another doctor. They're supposed to work for you. And I think that that's what some people don't really realize is like, I just got to listen to my doctor. This is what I got to do. You don't, especially if it's not, in alignment with who you are and what you know is right for you. So that is actually a very, very, I hope you do that. I'd be willing to help with that. I know a whole bunch of people will be willing to help with that. So do it for real.
Definitely. I have Ayana reach out to. We definitely working with them and just putting that together. We got a number of Black doctors from UCSF who are in on it. And they're like looking at, we're trying to create this because I think it is so many different areas that we should be checking. Men health, women health. That's important, especially for our young families, making sure that our young babies are getting the right checks as well. Because too many times it's devastating when we react to what we could have took advantage of early on. So definitely very, very important stuff. Go ahead, Tony. Did you want to jump in there, or Ms. Williams? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say
John,
thank you, everybody that's coming on. I'm very, very emotional right now. I have a story as well. About this time last year, I found a lump in my boob as well. And I called my doctor, but I couldn't get an appointment until 2 months later. And I was dealing with Kaiser Permanente, of course. And when I went in, this was February of this year, I was told I had a tumor. And they told me that the tumor wasn't cancerous or anything like that. And so I was like, okay, so it wasn't hurting or nothing like that. So I didn't really take it seriously because they said it wasn't no cancer. I didn't really tell anybody because I didn't think it was necessary. And so I went back 6 months later to get and that was my first time having a mammogram. I turned 39 this year in January. And I went back 6 months later, which I think was September. And when I went back, it grew 2 times the size that it was. So then when I went, they said there was this cancer. And they told me that I needed to get it out immediately. Well, immediately I just went into shock. And I was just really like upset. I didn't want to tell anybody once again. I had scheduled the surgery. And I did tell my family and friends a little bit about the surgery, but then I'm a single mom. And so I was trying to find time to like take off because I knew that me taking off a week or 2 weeks would hinder my finances. And I just didn't have the time. And that's just the real truth. Like, I was like, I'm not going to die right away. Like, it's not that I didn't take it serious, but I guess I didn't take it serious. But all nationality, I just couldn't stop working. I work 3 jobs. I'm a single mom. I don't have no support system. And I didn't want nobody having pity over me either. And then I was really just in shock. Like, how could this get to me? Like, how did this happen to me? I worked in the medical field for 16 years helping people, I'm very strong. I'm a community activist. I have all these things, and this couldn't be my story, right? And I just had a lot of emotions about it. And so everybody was like, well, you should get a second opinion and you should do this. And I'm just like, I don't have the time, And then so I started Googling things. I started telling people. And then me telling people, I still wish I didn't tell a lot of people because it was like people were like, well, if you die and this and this and that. And it became even more stressful for me. But I did have a group of people that came together and prayed for me and, you know, gave me great advice and supported me to a certain extent. But everything was just happening so fast, and I still don't understand a lot of things that has already occurred or what happened or what I had or anything, because it just happened so fast. I just had the surgery on October the 13th. They removed the tumor. They did diagnose me with stage 1, but the cancer is completely gone after they removed the tumor. And right now I am in the healing process. And I know some of the mistakes that I made just even sitting here on this platform. This is my first time coming back to community since the surgery, and I didn't want to miss this show. But my advice to the community and people that's listening is that, like, don't have the fears that I had, you know, and don't be afraid to at least maybe tell 1 or 2 people that you trust. And ultimately, like what you ladies have already said, it's like the quicker the detection is the best, because it could have been worse off for me. But what I do want to say is that I'm so sorry. What I do want to say is that, like, I think for me, God had been telling me to, like, sit down. God had been telling me that I was going to move in too fast and that things were going to be okay. And I'm stubborn. And I want to do what I want to do, and I want to take care of my kids, and I want to do everything. I want to be superwoman. And I think for me, that was just a sign of him, like, telling me, like, if you don't slow down or if you don't rest, then this what could happen to you, you know? And so that would be my advice to someone that's in my circumstance. And it doesn't matter the age, because I'm thinking I'm gonna live my best life because I'm 39. I was like, I'm trying to live my last 30s. And then here comes this disease trying to attack my body. But by the grace of God, there's been people praying for me even before this occurred, that I think that that's why I was able to survive it. It is a cancer that could come back. So now that I know what I know, I have to stay, I have to be cautious and keep getting checkups. And I think someone mentioned a holistic doctor. Like, I had my baby at home with no epidural, no nothing, you know. And so I'm real leery about putting things in my body. But now that I know that I can get a holistic doctor, I could do other things besides going to my primary care doctor and them telling me this and telling me that, it can give me some comfort. And so again, I just thank everyone on here for, like, sharing your stories. I'm very, very emotional, but I'm very grateful for the learning lesson and being obedient to what God was trying to tell me, and also just listening to my body. But we have to be careful as African Americans, because we are the ones that suffer from everything. We're the top people that die from everything, even childbirth, diabetes, sickle cell, you know, every disease that there's out there. We're the top priority people that pass, or that die, that don't survive first. And so my other advice is, even if you don't think you have nothing going on with yourself, be cautious of just checking your health. And I think somebody said it earlier too. Like, I know sometimes when I go to the doctor, there's multiple things that I want to tell my doctor, and I forget to tell my doctor. And then when I get home, I'm like, oh, I forgot to tell my doctor this. You got to keep a diary of your health. We all got these iPhones and all these things. You have to write this stuff in your notes and remind yourself to ask the doctor, what is this or what is that? Because we only have this one life to live. And that's what I wanted to say.
Wow, very powerful. Thank you, Tony. I knew today you was going to make me cry. I'm trying to hold it together, but you're going to break me down. But again, this is what it's about, community. It's about the truth. And, you know, this is why the support in our community is so important. This is why I do the work that I do, because it's powerful women like you. When I hear these stories, men in the community, we're trying to do a better job. And the only way we could do a better job is by understanding the issues, the difficulties, the obstacles, the disparities, so that we can advocate. You know, we have a seat at the table. We get in spaces that sometimes community folks don't get access to. So what a better way to be equipped with conversations like this. Believe me, the powerful conversations that happen here makes great impact. Okay. And if you don't know the impact of this organization, go check us out. We've already had 8 bills passed because conversations we've had. Our elected officials have heard the shows from the people and have already made policy change from things that we've talked about. Sometimes you just have to speak and put it in the universe. You never know who's going to listen, who's going to be watching, who's going to tell somebody. The impact is you telling your story. That's the real benefit of making change, being open and being willing. So again, Tony, take your time. You already know we here support you, your family, both sides of the conversation. If you hear your family, we're going to look out and do our part. But community, what part are you going to do to our Black professionals? What are we doing? We can't just walk around and boast about our doctorate degrees and I'm a doctor. What are we doing to build the health ecosystem? How do we build our own health facilities to make sure that our folks get the services? I don't need y'all walking around the community bragging about I'm a doctor and I do this and do that. What are we doing to help impact our people? There's a lot of work that we got to do in our community. Our elitist folks, as I call them, we can't be so elitist, okay? We have to figure out how to get together and how to make impact in our community. There's a number of disparities that impact us on all of the realms that takes place in our community, and we need support. We need help. To all of our folks out there, step up, do your part. To all of our nutritionists and folks that are into the food industry, okay, we need y'all to come on and educate our people, give our people a breakdown of how to eat better, how to live better. We already know in our community, there's food deserts all across our communities. There's no grocery store. There's no healthy foods. There's no more farmers, okay? So we need y'all to come in and give us the tools and the tips of the things that we need to do. Whether it's the deficiency of vitamin D, educate our community. Come on to one of our educational Thursdays, put a PowerPoint together and come talk to your people. That's what we need. So do that part there. And we're going to continue to move the questions around. One of the things that I wanted to jump into, and you guys could go at another direction if you want, but I wanted to dump in there, the environments, because we talk about how this comes into our families, how it comes in our community. And one of the things that all these disparities, when we look at the Black community, the number one thing that is always tied to our community is our environments. And just wanted to hear y'all perspective, because I know here in Bay Area, we got the shipyards, folks dealt with radiology issues, all kind of things. We have the highest asthma in our communities. They put Black folks near the railroad tracks, near the dumps, near the waste. All right. And we got to talk about that too. And how do we advocate to make sure that these folks who put us in these communities that they know have toxins and different things that they still sell houses on? How do we advocate better and make sure that we are part of those processes? And this is what I'm saying when I talk about solidarity in our community. Black folk, listen, solidarity is 365 days a year, coming together on all issues that impact our communities. We have to get that mindset. We have to start moving in that way if we really want to bring change. But just wanted to throw that question out there, and y'all can go any other way y'all want. But the environmental aspect, there are so many environmental justice groups working right now, identifying the waterways, the air, everything that impacts our community, the soil. What do you all feel? And again, you could jump in another direction, but I want to talk about the environment, because I know a lot of times Black folks are living in these toxic areas. Our communities are filled with poison, lead, asbestos, different things that also trigger us, that we're not taking full accountability on with our other folks. And again, talking to the doctor is one way, but community-wide, holistically, how do we put those measures and those push together so as community we can march as one to tackle those issues? Anybody could jump in. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Fatinia. How you doing? That's a great question, John. I want to say from the community, from Bayview, you mentioned the shipyard, and I want to take it in an aspect of from the community, understanding the different years of caustic waste and what's out there, what's been tested. I want to give a special shout out to our Ariana Harrison that's doing the work from her mother, Marie Harrison, over the years, and continuing that body of work to test it. Shout out to Shaman Walton as well, District Supervisor, for being adamant about the testing of it. I, on the other hand, is from the community. I worked, just to say, as it pertains to the shipyard at YCD, working with Tetra Tech back then, 2004, 5, 6. I am now with the city and county of San Francisco assigned to the shipyard as the placement entity. And I say that to say this, I always am transparent from myself and what I know when I'm dealing with different residents from the community, always letting them know that that's a factor that's still major out there, although the placement has been slow and is about to pick up, but it's most definitely necessary that we reach together as a community to continue to hold accountability for what's out there and what's actually out there. And I say that from a place of advocacy, Patinia, myself, again, going out there, checking out there back then, exposing myself potentially. And so, yeah, it's a lot, but it's important that we take care of ourselves and don't continue to inhale or take that lightly. In D10 or any other community that's affecting families' health with asthma and all the different things, the asbestos, the lead, and all those things. And so, yeah, it's heartfelt.
Most definitely. Anybody else want to jump in on that one?
I do have a question. Well, it's just a thought, really, because I've noticed that a lot of Black areas and cities, the water supply, the water that's being pumped through, they tend to pump a lot of the waste into our areas. And I'm just curious, like for San Francisco, this is just a thought. I don't know if anybody knows this information, but what is in the water, especially inside of our communities? Because I think that has a lot to do with a lot. Whether it's Compton, I used to live in Compton, whether it's Brooklyn, Atlanta, Detroit, I mean, these are things that continuously happen. And I will say, as far as, as being an advocate and stuff, like when I lived in Compton and I worked with, like, my neighbor was the mayor of Compton, and we advocated for better food in the grocery store. She was on board with it. The community was on board with it. I would have conversations with the produce manager at the grocery store, and he would be like, all right, you want that? I'm going to order it. It's going to be in the next shipment. It's just as easy as like having a conversation with people. So it's like having those relationships with people. People don't even think that they can even do that. You know what I mean? But it's like, all right, you want that? The more we request these types of things in our community and our grocery stores, the more it's going to happen. And boom, like literally within, I'd say 2 years, our organic, department grocery store was popping. Like, it's all about having that, people coming together to do it. We, the people, can do it, like you said. So we also just have to be aware, like whether it's the pollution, whether it's the waste, the shipyard, whether it's the air, the air supply, the water supply, like we have to know like what are even safe numbers and what we can do to correct this in our city. And that is possible. But we got to fight for it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as the waterways in San Francisco, I have to say San Francisco probably has one of the better waters for community. I kind of know a little. I know a little bit in depth about their water supply. I'm part of the water agency that service it. There's a lot of testing that happen. But outside of San Francisco, there's a lot of communities who are impacted. In Mississippi, you see what's going on. Flint, Michigan. Mm-hmm. It's more about resources, right? And it's also about human errors and mistakes that take place. Sometimes those bins that they release water in those waterways get cross-connected. Sometimes that's an issue. And then also it's just amount of chemical treatment to help protect the algae, the bacteria and things of that nature. And when you live in certain counties, certain places like Mississippi, where they know the area is predominantly Black, because we don't have people in those spaces, the treatment, the maintenance, the amount of supplies that they use, this doesn't happen. So that's why we always, and this is why I say financially we get impacted in so many ways, right? Typically a homeowner can do their own home assessment test to figure out their water chemicals and, pay to have water treatment, right? But if you don't have that kind of financial power, you get stuck with it, right? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of our challenges. And that's why when we talk about reparations, I always talk about the money that is needed. Okay. I don't want to talk about the things that doesn't have anything to do with we need money. Okay, I'm on these reparation calls. I'm telling these folks, I don't want to spend no more money on paying consultants to figure out the problem. I want my people to get money. They need cash so that they can have the financial beings and the financial power to get the things that they need to do, because those are the things when you talk about home ownership, when you talk about living in the community. If you're already strapped tight when you buy your house and you can't afford to pay the money to get these proper tests, you know, you just fall into the pile with the rest of the people. And we got to change it. But again, to make those change, the stuff that's going on in Flint, Michigan, the stuff that goes on in Mississippi right now, those were triggered by people coming together. And those wasn't black folks. Okay, it's folks who know things aren't being done right and they whistle blew. All right. And this is why I tell white folks that want to be allies to black folks. If you ain't standing up and speaking for what's wrong, then you ain't no ally. All right. We need all people. If you're working in any industry that you see that there's some issues, disparities, some, discrimination or something that's going on that's affecting people that you know ain't right, you got to speak up. And that's just what we got to do as humans in this world if we want to make change. But again, I challenge all of our allies that call themselves allies to the community. Okay, they in those spaces, they in those places that we're not at. And they know when things are not right. What are you going to do to activate your voice to make change? All it takes is one person to make the phone call to trigger something. Look at Flint, Michigan. Now it's a big deal. Okay. But we do have the power. So, you know, what you said is very powerful. The community has the power, but we have to work together. We have to organize. We have to be intentional so that it's one voice. It is hard to make movement when it's 20 different voices saying 20 different things. And I think when we talk about organizing, how do we keep the message, the focus, and the outcome one way so that when we march, we all march in solidarity for one change that's going to impact the entire community. But great stuff. I mean, I think that's just what we have to keep doing as community. Change can happen. Hey, we have a new grocery store that just opened up, Lucky's in Bayview. All right, not the best option, but it's something, right? And again, if we keep pushing and keep tackling these issues and holding folks accountable, change will happen. It takes us all. I can't just be the only one. It takes us all. Everybody's voice is important. But go ahead, y'all. I'm gonna pass it around. I see a couple people all came off their mic. They want to say something. Go ahead and jump in.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I just wanted to say on the water issue, there are places, and as we go in the community, I picked up a free water sample. So, you know, those are things that we need to put in our message to say, hey, you know, you can even get this. Let me know. I'll send you the kit, test your water, and, you know, even, you know, maybe the food. Dealing with the holistic side, you know, your vitamins. A lot of times we don't tend to go on the holistic side because of the cost of the vitamins. Some of those can be very pricey, though they are good for us. So however we can find a way in which, you know, if you can do it with food, that's going to, you know, rectify or help out and change our diets. And diet has a lot to do with these illnesses. You know, what's in the food, certain foods attack certain parts of your body, believe it or not, or cannot fight off certain illnesses or what I want to say, foreign objects per se in your body. You can't fight it off with potato chips and a Coke diet. You know, you've got to have the vitamins that provide the minerals and things like that to fight these foreign objects in your body and continue to keep you healthy. And, you know, but that's what we have to educate ourselves. And I think, John Henry, as you said, you're wanting to do this book on maintenance. That's going to be a part, a sole part. You know, some recipes in there that are going to be wholesome meals that can feed your family as well as keep your family healthy. So all of these are going to work together. But yes, I do know where we can get those kits. You can get those kits to test your water, Home Depot. So first and foremost, that's our first positive to go. Everybody should be able to pick up a kit, test your water in your community. So
Now, Miss
You
Deborah,
know,
now you know this is both sides of the conversation, right? So I
Yeah,
gotta say, we got a lot of people in the community that don't own houses. They ain't going to Home Depot. So we'll find
that's
out.
okay. They can contact this forum.
Okay.
I'll pick up some extras. I'll mail you one. Okay.
Yeah. So, but you're right. There is ways, and I'm glad you said that because I do have connections. So I'm gonna make a call out to our CPU in San Francisco, our utility folks, our water department, and they do have TEF kits, and I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna have my team reach out to them. I promise you, this week this is a good topic. And we need to have them. They have those free test kits to make sure that our folks in our community get it. And I'm gonna try to get some of our people from emergency management to come on because there are resources out there. And we just got to tap in and bring it to our people. But again, you're right. We know there's financial issues, economic issues in our community. But I also want to say we got a lot of Black folks out there spending a lot of money on things that we don't need to be spending our money.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
We are $1 trillion spenders. Okay. So
Hello.
sometimes I go, we got some money, okay, Black folks. We got to put them Gucci bags down and go invest in some of our health products.
Save some souls.
But we definitely got to change that narrative when it comes to what we make important. And I think that's why these conversations are so important because once you start to understand the trajectory, when you hear a Tony speak about taking time off and the struggle she the challenges that she had to go through and a number of you, and this is an open conversation for our community to figure out how do we support. And that was one of the questions, I wanted to hear from you all when we talk about providers, community, family, when we talk about how do we help support somebody who is dealing with breast cancer, how do we be an ear, how do we help? Because there was a number of things that each person said that they've been through. And I think sometimes our community doesn't always hear that, right? I mean, just, hearing Tyreek talk about being pregnant and dealing with this, right? I mean, that for some people could just be, it's over. But the mental health component, I think is very powerful. And I think, Serene, you could jump in on this. She's always promoting mental health. And I think that's a big part of it. But how do we get our families, as we start changing this way of our medical presence, as we would say, now that we're getting folks to start talking about the issues and talking to our family about these different cancers and different diseases that impact our community, how do we put the mental health support and then how do we get our community to support to walk through this process so we take away that unknown and that fear?
Yeah. I will say mental health is a big piece. And I think Miss Deborah was talking about this. I'm not saying that stress caused my breast cancer, but I do strongly believe that it exacerbated it. So right before my diagnosis, I went through a really, really deep, dark depression in my life. And I do believe that it was a prolonged postpartum depression. I mentioned it to my doctor and she kind of was like, oh, you too far along. It's not postpartum depression. And this is where, being your own advocate is key. Don't let the doctors tell you what's going on with you. You know your body better than anybody. You know what your mental normal is. Okay. I was so deep, dark into depression. I could not see my way out, y'all. Okay. And when we talk about sharing our stories, and it's not about telling all your business. Okay. We got to let that thought go. It's about helping somebody else. Right. So when I was diagnosed, and everybody responds to it differently. Everybody's body responds to it differently. But I knew that people were watching. And I felt like God put me through the journey on purpose. I also feel like I survived for a purpose. And so I not only wrote a book about my breast cancer journey, but I also shared the very, very personal experiences with mental health. Because it's important. We, as you know, in our culture, we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to talk about mental health in our community. We are now starting to talk about it more, but it's now time for us to start doing something about it. It's not enough to just talk about it and raise awareness. Just like Miss Deborah said, how do we de-stress? Like, you know, we've got so much compounded, right? We've got family, you know, so we're wives and mothers, and then we got to turn around and go to work. We got to keep their ship sailing, but then we get home, we got to keep this ship sailing. You know, we trying to handle all of these different things, and it's too much, honestly. It's too much, and that superwoman schema has got to go, because the other women, they have help, y'all. We out here trying to sink or swim. We out here trying to do it all by ourselves. The other women, they got help. Okay. And so the way to help ourselves is we got to speak up, and we cannot be afraid to do so. We can't be afraid to speak up. And, you know, Miss Tony, I commend you. I commend you. I commend you. You know, it's hard. You know, sometimes we go through things, and it's just it's hard to speak up, right? Number one. But I'm so glad that you shared your story, because right now we're in the middle of our Pink Christmas campaign. So after my diagnosis, like I said, I knew I survived, you know, for a purpose, on purpose. And I Create Peace Foundation. The Pink Christmas campaign is to raise funds for breast cancer patients and their families, because I would hate for a breast cancer patient to have to decide, do I go get treatment? Do I have chemo? Do I go get radiation? Do I have the surgery? Or do I have Christmas for my family? Especially those patients with small children, right? And so what you said was key, because we do worry about being able to pay bills and still, you know, keep the lights on, you know, still having a job, right? Like, even just still having a job. It's hard. It's really hard. And you know, I just wanted to kind of just share my thoughts on that. I think it's really important that we do continue to share our stories, and, you know, share the journey. It is a journey. I still feel like, you know, my healing journey is ongoing. But, you know, I am grateful and thankful for platforms such as this, and, you know, spaces to just be able to speak about it, so people can see, like, hey, you know, they got through it, or hey, you know, this is what I should do, or oh, this is where I should go, or this is who I should talk to. We need to do this a whole lot more. And when it comes to our mental health, we have to find those trusted individuals to at least unleash what you're carrying. Stop carrying all that weight on your shoulders. Let it go. Let it go, because it's not doing you any good holding it all inside. Because on the inside, it could be all toe up, and then it's going to eventually come out, right? It's going to eventually come out. And just like Miss Tony said, you go through so much and you're doing so much, God gonna sit you down one way or the other. One way or the other. So we have to gain some type of control, you know, and manage everything that we've got going on. But that's my piece
Now,
on that.
Sarita, you started something on my show, okay? You're telling the woman to give up the independent woman. You're telling them to give up that independent woman model, okay? Don't be starting nothing on my show.
Hey, you know, we listen, like I said, those other women, they got help, y'all. We can't do it all, even though, you know, they look at us like superwoman, but then that's part of the problem too. They don't want to help us because they think that we superwoman. They don't want to help because they think we superwoman. No, we need help just like you got help.
Ladies, you heard it from the best. Ask for some help, okay? Don't be over there trying to be like, I got this, okay? Ask for some help. Community, let's get behind the women who need some support in our community. Whether it's go clean the house up while they down, okay? Every little thing takes a little bit of that burden off, and it's true. So it is definitely needed. And I'm glad you brought that up. Mental health is a big part of it again. And I just appreciate you, Serena, for always being transparent. You know, I've followed you through your journey. And I always respect that you stepped into it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of times you could have stepped away when you was going through those transitions. And you just always admired me. You always been an inspiration, because I said, if you could get through that, you could get through anything in life. And you've been an advocate for mental health. You've been an advocate of the people. And that's why I always appreciate you and the work that you do. When you talk about just uplifting and amplifying the voices of the people, you do it so well. And I just appreciate you for being here and being part of this conversation today. But yeah.
I think Miss Yolanda wanted to say something, John.
Go ahead, Miss Yolanda.
So one thing that I do want to bring our attention to is doing my research about the water. I learned that drinking alkaline water helps with getting rid of inflammation. I don't know if any of you ladies heard that. And basically, cancer cells cannot thrive or live in an alkaline state. So even certain foods, and I think I forgot which lady talked about in nutrition, there's certain foods that we can eat, and you can just Google it, you can look online, and it'll tell you which foods that you can eat to make your body more alkaline. And just speaking about the mental part of it, you know, when I went through the cancer journey, y'all, I was like, I just kind of went through it, right? Hands down. Like, I was like, I got this. Cancer not going to get me. The minute I became a cancer survivor, I went into a depression. I don't know why. I did reach out and ask for counseling. Sometimes I know people of color, we don't like to do that. But I'm going to tell you something. It really helped me just figure out some things that I was going through. And I had this survivor's guilt. I felt guilty. Wow, why am I still here? When a lot of people have started dying, you know, they start getting it a second time, a third time, and they wasn't beating it the first time. They didn't have a good response. So just having that component, you know, don't feel guilty that you're still alive, you're still here. We all are here for a purpose. And I just kind of wanted to bring that, because emotions will come up, you know, and it'll come up even a year from now, right? We may figure out, you know, I felt like I didn't want to share my story because I felt like I was a failure. I feel like I felt my children, my grandchildren, my community, but I'm not a failure, right? I believe God gives some of his strongest soldiers the biggest battles. So I now know that, but, you know, just want to just encourage someone that this isn't your fault. You haven't done anything, you know, it's just, we're here to give testimony to other people. And, you know, try to get that alkaline water in you. It'll change your life. You'll thank me later.
Definitely. Thank you for that information. And God do chooses the strongest soldiers. But I swear he's putting a lot on my shoulders, community. Pray for me. Uplift me. Okay, I need it. But with that being said, okay, we got about 15 minutes left. So what I want to do is just start getting ready to close us out today. You know, we talked about the food. We talked about a number of things. You know, I know in the statistics it talks about obesity. This is an ongoing fight in our community. And we really want to continue to put together health and wellness groups to work out, to walk, to exercise, to do stuff. In a Black community, we need it so much. Staying away from the processed foods, finding things. And it's such a struggle for a single family, whether it's a mother or father, to come home and cook meals. But this fast food industry has played a big part of what's going on, and they're going to have to do their part as well. There's a number of coalitions coming together to fight them for the amount of food that is just harming our community. When we talk about obesity and diabetes, we have to do our part. So it's a lot of work, a lot of movement, a lot of action that's taking place. And I like somebody said it earlier, there's more than just the awareness piece. It's one thing to bring people to the awareness, but now it's like, where are we going? Okay, we've identified a number of issues today. Community, where are we at? The call to action. How are we going to come together and move forward? How are we going to continue this conversation? How are we going to take this conversation to our elected officials, to our public health, to our doctors, to our community? We have to put a plan together. It's more that we got to do than just call the awareness to the community. I mean, it's great to have that, but now we got to move forward. We have to march. We have to start moving forward. We're sitting in neutral in a lot of these areas. It is time for us to work together in solidarity and start moving these topics of issues and concerns of our community forward so that the real change can take place and happen. But with that being said, we have 15 minutes left. You know, one of the things that I want to do on every show is I want to give everybody an opportunity to give parting words to the community. I never want to leave a show without somebody because, again, that parting word might not be for one person, but it might be for somebody else. It's also a time to just acknowledge the people that you want to acknowledge, any businesses. This is your time, okay? As we part out of here today, this is your time. Give something back to the community. Today, somebody's going to go back and listen to something you said. I already got 5 or 6 text messages from Deborah that poked that like what Deborah said, and Serena, a number of folks, okay? The power of messaging is so important in our community. The power of a digital receipt, being able to go back at different times to watch. You know, some people, this is a fear. They don't want to do it in front of their kids. We just gave them an opportunity to come back later on and see what's going on, okay, and come back and listen to it. So many times I've had mothers, when we have these powerful conversations, say, John, thank you for this conversation. I wouldn't have been able to get this anywhere else, but I was able to do it in the privacy of my home. This is powerful stuff that we're doing here, community. The vulnerability, the openness, the truth, the hurt, the pain. This is real stuff. This is real talk. This is our community, all right? And we want to change what's going on, and this is why we have these conversations. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it around to each and every one of you. We'll start from the bottom. We'll start with Ms. Evangela Williams, and then we'll move to Deborah, Fatina, and we'll just move around. Give some parting words. Give some words of encouragement. There's a woman or a man out there today that said, oh, I didn't know this. I need to go get checked. Give them that encouragement. It's okay. Go get seen. If you need me to walk with you, call me. I'll walk with you to the doctor. Let's go get it done. Let's change our community. So with that being said, Ms. Williams, go ahead and give some parting words to the community. Any acknowledgments you want to give out to the folks, do it now. This is your time.
My parting words to the community is I'm the lady that helped build the McDonald's on 3rd. So I'm in the community. I've been in the community for like 35, 36 years, even bought my house here in Bayview Hunters Point. So I don't know, maybe I'm a hidden treasure, but but I'm just saying this was wonderful. We need to have more awareness on what's going on in our community. And I fussed at the police saying, we don't never know what's going on in Bayview Hunters Point. I didn't even know of John until Ayana told me what you were doing in our community. And she said, I want you to be a part of this. And I'm just really pleased because I was fussing about that not too long ago. Since I'm retired, I was really shocked to see somebody so active, so young, so innovative, coming up with ideas like this that we can come together and talk about what's going on in the Bayview Hunters Point community. Y'all don't hardly see me, but when they do see me, they know who I am. And I used to work with YDC. The lady said she worked with YDC. When we first got the McDonald's down there, I hired in the community because that was one of the requirements. And I'm just happy that John has got this together. And anything I can do to support you, I will, because I see that this is a good thing. And we need to be informed. Our children need to be informed on what's going on. And I just pray that everybody in this community, we get together and start killing folks and all kind of stuff. You know, just crazy sometime. And I hear the gunshots sometime. And I just thank the Lord that he has kept our children safe. And we want to have a safer community. And John, I appreciate you. I do. John Henry, I appreciate you. You're a hidden treasure. You know that?
No problem. Thank you. That's our job here. You know, when we created this, okay,
Yeah.
and this is why I get so passionate about this. It's for Black folks. We're not CNN. We're not Fox News. We're not centralized media. This is the voices of the people. When we say change the narrative from the voices of the people, that's what we're doing. We want the real people who walk day to day, who live this. I don't want to hear them telling us what it is. I don't want to hear Fox News telling us this is what the problem is. No.
Yeah.
I want to hear from the lived experiences. That's what we do. We listen to the people. We keep it authentic, and I tell the people who watch it out there, some of our allies, okay, our conversations will get a little passionate. Sometimes they get a little colorful. You might hear a few cuss words. We're not gonna let it get vulgar, but we let people say what they gotta say. If you want to come to the cookout, you want to come to the barbecue, you got to hear the talk. The talk is real in the community. That's what we're here to do. We keep it real. But thank you, Ms. Williams. We're going to do our part to connect with you. That's our duty as both sides of the conversation, not only in D10, across Black communities across this country. Our job is to bring that information.
I want your co-host to get my number from Ayana so I can talk to her and keep her encouraged.
No problem. Definitely, we'll definitely connect you. We'll definitely connect you.
Yeah, so I can keep you encouraged through this process. I got you.
That's right. That's right. That's what it's all about. Building a community inside of the community. That's powerful stuff right there. Thank you very much for being here, good sister. And we'll definitely be connecting with you with Ayana. Again, this is our mission. We're going to bring our communities together through dialogue, through communication. We're going to make sure that the resources, the education, and information get to our people. If it's through this platform, if it's in person, we're going to keep grinding until everybody knows what's going on, how to get connected, how to advocate, how to be a part of the community. It takes time. We're not giving up. We're not going nowhere. We got some phenomenal folks behind the scenes who love the people, the community, and they believe in the mission and vision of what we're doing. So stay tuned, community. This is your platform. It's for the people. Let's go. All right, Miss Deborah, I want to shoot it over to you. Give your part words out to the community today.
Well, thank you again for having me here, John Henry, Tony. I have truly enjoyed this. It has been phenomenal for me. I didn't know the impact or even the, how much this is an impact on the community and how broad that you guys have made this. I'm actually in Phoenix, Arizona, as we speak. So I know I hear a lot of you all say you're in the Bay Area. I feel like this platform is going to go nationwide if it hasn't already, but you guys are well on your way. I want to say that also this platform goes with the old saying, it takes a village, not just to raise a child, to raise a community, to raise a people. And for what has been brought out today, for men, but we mostly were talking about women with breast cancer. Men also, please, men, go get yourself checked. If there's a lump that you find, whether it is one that has, sensation, pain, get yourself checked because, it applies to you too. And the earlier, the better chances that you have of survival. So that's my take for that. I think that also we will be able to continue to give to the community through this voice. And I am just loving every bit of it. I thank you guys for inviting me, for for being given an opportunity to have a voice. And also, I just want to say, may everybody still continue to have this challenge that I am going to be. Actually, I'm working here from Phoenix, Arizona, and also Oklahoma City. So I got 2 cities that I'm going to be dealing with things going on as far as keeping up this challenge. So please, my take, everybody go get checked out if you find a lump, whether it hurts or it doesn't, you're leaking or you don't have any type of leak or anything, your lymph nodes, you have a lump, go get checked out. And just want to be a part of giving back to early prevention and where to go, how to go, even if you don't have the funds or means to pay for it. That's going to be my first take. So I'll be keeping in touch. And I would like to also get everybody's phone number, if I could, to be in touch with everybody after the show, if that would be possible.
Definitely. If everybody just hang on at the end and we can all exchange numbers in the private chat, we'll definitely do that. And Miss Deborah, thank you for being here today. Both sides of the conversation. We have people all over the United States that come on this platform, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the Midwest. They everywhere. We all over the place. We even have people in the UK saying, we saw your show last night. Okay. We everywhere.
Friends there.
Right? We're making our move. Okay. It's a slow move, but we're moving. Okay. And then I just want to thank you because you have an amazing daughter This queen has put so much light in our community, so much light on this platform. She brings so much energy, the love, the care, and the humility, the compassion. No wonder where she gets this greatness from. Thank you for putting this wonderful flower in our community that continues to impact the people. Tony brings so much energy, not only to this organization, but to all of the folks that she touches in our community. She is a wonderful performer. She's a wonderful actor, model. She has so many amazing things that she do to bring peace, love, and humility to our community. So thank you for blessing us with such a gem in our community.
Thank you. Love
All
y'all.
right. We're going to move it on. Oh, I see Fahima back. Come on, young lady. You keep getting kicked off. That must be
Yes,
it's time
y'all
for you to get
better
off.
give me
Give your
my-
final words to the community.
Right. My phone done went out 3 times. It's saying overheated. So I want to thank you. I got you back on. John Henry, the ladies, the team on both sides of the conversation. For each of you ladies, I want to thank you for sharing and being humble enough, because for me, I asked myself, and it's the little things, was I going to duck behind my hat out of shame, right, regarding this experience and my diagnosis? So I'm going to remove my hat now. I want to give a special shout out to you for thanking me today and honoring me, as well as out on the field in Bayview. They gave me a special baseball today with my name on it and allowed me to first pitch. So I feel humbly grateful to represent for the community. For Tony, I want to say, when you spoke, it wrenched my heart, as well as the other ladies. You more specifically, your operation was on the 13th and mine the 17th. God blessed us to be first stage, not fourth. And I want you to take away the blessings of that. Stay into your spiritual, as well as I will with all the other ladies. I think the common goal was talking about your why, talking about your healing, and talking about who you trust, and that's our faith. And so I want to encourage the community to continue to support one another, but early detection is key. And I want to say that John Henry, you talked about in the process of UCSF, what feedback did we have? I want to give mine to make sure that when you get a snapshot, one sheet, that is reflective of all communities from Western Addition, District 10, all over citywide, so the folks closest to them can access that. Again, community-based organizations, different healing centers, one stop. I know the average person may or may not have. We talked about healthcare as being the number one, but there's a lot of different services. I know we have the Southeast Center just rebuilt right there, but other free resources one can utilize to get themselves checked out. But don't doubt yourself. I never felt anything. I just want to say, when they say it's the silent killer, I've been dealing with, I'm going to say this in a safe space, John, catch me, work-related stress, getting people to work, but what's going on internal. And then a lot of times we forget to just take basic steps for ourselves, women. And so I'm so grateful that I got a second call, because the first I put off due to work schedule. And then I said, let me get in there and get my mammogram done. And so again, in a 30-day window, I've been diagnosed. I've had my surgery diagnosed on September 30th and got my surgery on 10/17. And I'm not even a good 2 weeks in my healing process, but I'm grateful. And as far as my journey, I want to continue to trust God. Whatever your faith is, I believe, I encourage you to tap into your higher spiritual, because the mental aspect, the acceptance of this and how we move forward in our life. We talked about eating different. Whatever way you find to relax. I do massages, run, just relax, and family, but for the most part, the gym, eating different. We talked about the holistic approach. I'm interested. I am seeking more information, how to strengthen myself, eat better so I can do better. And so I'm going to end on a high note and say thank you. I appreciate you all. Continue to be amazing. I'm going to continue to claim greatness, because I know I'm a survivor. And this is just another trick of the devil for each of us. And so we're going to claim greatness and live in the moment. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Holmes. You know what you mean to me. You are a pillar of our community. When you talk about community, you are one of the first faces that we see that represent for all of the Black folks. You are not only special in our community. You're special to both sides of the conversation. You was our first woman hidden gem. Okay, people don't know that. You was the first
Thank
woman
you.
hidden gem on our show. So you always
Thank
have a
you.
special place in my heart. You was the first woman that came on as a hidden gem in our community. But thank you for always being a part of the community. Thank you for always being real, always stepping in your authenticity and making sure that you hold people accountable when it comes to our people. I know the fight
Yeah,
behind the
you
walls.
know, you already know. That's why I know I'm in a safe place right now. So catch it. I'm gonna throw it up in the air like 10 toes. But I'm still
But you
standing.
already know how
Yes.
I feel about the work you do. And we know the behind the scenes stuff that you deal with, but keep pushing, keep
Thank
ascending, keep doing the things that you do. And you know, when I saw you and you embraced me, you let me know what was going on.
There
I
you
felt
go.
the strength. I
There
felt
you
the
go.
power. I
Thank
wasn't
you.
worried. I just prayed because I already knew. I
There
felt
you
it.
go.
And here you are 2 weeks later here. God is good. God is great. And, you know, it's just a testament of to who you are. Keep
Thank you
doing
so
what
much.
you're doing. More great things coming your way, Queen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you all. I feel you are, and I'm embracing it, and I'm claiming greatness for each of you. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Have a good evening. Hold on. And at the end, they want to connect. This lady right here. Come on, Miss Serena. Come on. Come on, talk to the people. Come on, talk to the people. Before you go, come talk to the people.
Oh my goodness. All right, last words. We talked about a couple of myths. I just want to make sure that I mention a few more. Mammograms cannot cause breast cancer. Okay. Breast cancer is not contagious. Okay. Finding a lump in your breast doesn't necessarily mean breast cancer. It does mean you need to get it checked out. Okay. And I believe Sister Deborah had mentioned this too as well, but like men can get breast cancer. Okay. So the myth that men can't is a lie. They can. So make sure you're getting checked out. I also want to mention a couple of resources that are available. Sisters Network Incorporated, African American Breast Cancer Alliance, Black Women's Health Imperative, Sisters by Choice, and the Smith Center for Healing in the Arts. So when we said that there are resources available, there are resources available. Do not feel like you don't have a support system in organizations that are out there. There are organizations out there. They're putting some information there on the screen, as you can see. God intended for us to go through life with community. He never intended for us to go through life alone. I say that to say, make sure you reach out. Make sure you reach out and don't be afraid to ask for help. He intended for us to do life together and never alone. Okay. So that's kind of what I wanted to leave with you. You can find me at peaceandserenity.com. I am on IG at Peace and Serenity. I am on Facebook at Peace and Serenity. And the way that I spell serenity is with my name, CZARINA, and then I add a TY to it. So I did a twist with my name. The root word of my name, Serene, means peaceful, calm, and serene. And ever since my diagnosis, I have been all about peace and serenity. I feel like that's my purpose. I want everybody to know how to create their peace and maintain it. We all I feel like everybody search for that peace, right? That peace within. But it's really important that we learn how to maintain that peace and know that you have the power to create your own peace. Know that you hold the power to do that. I do want to give 2 copies of my book away today. And I want to give 1 copy to Tony, and I want to give another copy to, was it Fatina?
Yes.
So if I can get her information, I would love to send you guys a copy of Finding Serenity. The Journey to Peace Through Cancer and Chaos. I would love to gift you guys with a copy of the book. But Brother John, again, thank you so much for the opportunity. Tony, thank you. Sakati, thank you for reaching out. Everybody over there at both sides of the conversation, y'all rocking it, y'all killing it. Keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. I can't wait to connect with you to do something here in Dallas, Texas. So we got to get together and make it happen. But thank you again. I appreciate you. I want to give a shout out to my husband, John. I want to give a shout out to the Triple J's. That's Justin, Jason, and Javen. Those are my little sweethearts, y'all. My sons. I've got all boys. I just want to, say thank you to them. And this has been great.
Definitely. And Serene, put all your IG information and those resources in the chat so that we can get them on before we end. Thank you. You're powerful. In Texas, we are coming, okay? My executive assistant is in Texas. We are planning to do some stuff real big in Texas, and you're going to be the first person I call when I come into town. So get ready. We coming to Texas. All right. With that being said, Ms. Spencer, it's on you.
All right. Thank y'all again for having me today. The one thing I want to say is that you are not your diagnosis, whether it's cancer or something else. You are not that. And God has not forgot about you. And I truly believe that even if you have cancer or whatever, that you can still thrive. You don't have to wait till after when the doctors say you don't have cancer anymore. Like being someone who was diagnosed with stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer when I was pregnant, God was like, okay, well, you got a choice. Either you're going to sit here and continue to be in this dark space, or are you going to trust me and you're going to live your life? And once I started living my life and doing what God was telling me to do and walking and being outside, there was a point in time where I couldn't even laugh anymore. That's when all of this heaviness lifted and all of this, all of the great things that God was showing me just started happening. So I want to say that you can be a thriver even if you have cancer, even after, you are not your diagnosis. And from this journey, God was like, okay, you're a cancer thriver, you're a wellness advocate. So for people out there who definitely need support, you can hit me up on social media, Instagram, Facebook @Takiri. You can also email me hello@takiri.com. And I mentioned I did the integrative route. So I was holistic and conventional. That's what God told me to do. And so if you're interested in that, hit me up as well. I started a nonprofit. It's called Thrive Beyond Cancer, where I am helping people, to be able to pay for those services and giving them the holistic resources, because a lot of people don't know about that. So you can hit me up. I would love to talk to you. God has you always. And God bless all of y'all.
Thank you very much. We're going to definitely have Ayana connect you. There's a lot of opportunities for collaboration when you talk about doing this work. So we want to make sure that we get you on there. Also, we want to get you to come back on one of our Hidden Gem segments, right? Every Tuesday, we highlight our different organizations, our leaders, people that's doing positive things to impact our community. I need more folks to know about what's going on so they can connect with you. We'll help you. And I'll get her to get you to sign up so we can get you on. Thank you for all the continued work that you're doing. God bless you for all you've been through to continue to walk, boots on the ground, giving back and being open and vulnerable. Very powerful stuff. Just excited. And thank you for being here today, Queen. Very powerful stuff.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Miss Yolanda, another powerful queen. Come on, talk to the people before we leave today.
So real quick, I just want to encourage all of the ladies on here, just listening to your stories just has been an inspiration to me. And I just want to thank my family, my friends, my supporters. And John, how I feel about you. Our families go way back. This platform is huge, and I want to say next year, and because I'm part of both sides of the conversation, I'm willing to take on this project. Next year, I would like to have a breast cancer awareness event from both sides of the conversation. So I'm putting that out there. I want all of us to come back and be a big part of that. And yeah, I think that'll be good. We can start working on it now.
Most definitely, we could do it. You know, anything we can name, we just do it. We'll figure out a way. We'll make it happen. And you know, this is a very important topic. You know, for me, just dealing with my family, my mom, the impact, my auntie, different folks who have been impacted. I would love to do something. Love with the partner with all of you. Maybe we could do something, and I'm open for it. I'm always open. I never close any doors when it comes to information, education, uplifting. So yes, definitely I'll have you work with the team and let's put something together. Let's do it. Let's march forward and let's not stand still. So I'm all open for it. Thank you, Yolanda, for always telling your story, your book, your inspiration. And again, you know, I have nothing but mad love and respect for you, the family. You know, our family is a pillar of this community. So just appreciate you for always being a service to the people and always being open and vulnerable to tell your truth and always there to help people. So thank you as well. All right, Ms. Loretta Thompson, go ahead and give some parting words to the people before we leave today.
Yes, I want to thank you for having me on the show. Thank you, Yolanda, for the invite. I appreciate all the ladies, all your information. But one thing I did, when she mentioned fear is one thing you really have to get rid of, because fear, between me, it took me from stage 1 to stage 2 because of fear. Because the first year I felt the lump, didn't do anything about it. Had a mammogram, like I said, mammogram showed nothing, thought nothing of it. The next year I go do a mammogram still says I have nothing, but I'm still feeling the same lump. So when I was at my OBGYN appointment, I told the doctor then, I still feel a lump. I'm like, right now I'm not feeling it, but you know, of course, when you get to the doctor, everything goes away. So she went and got her machine. She tested me, everything. And she said, yes, it is something there. Right there where the halo is at, it's something. I'm going to send you over there. But when she said halo, that was the key word to me. God got me. I don't know what's here, but she said it's a halo over it. So I know God got me. So ladies, fear. So where I would have been stage 1 if I'd have did it the year before, but considering I waited a year, it went to stage 2 and spread it to one of my lymph nodes. So don't let fear get in your way. And I thank everyone for all your kind words, your encouragements, and everything. And Yolanda, I love you, and I really thank you for the invite, because this has really been educational. And thank you, John Henry.
No problem. Thank you very much, Queen. Miss Tony, my co-host. Final words to the community. Your first day back. You made it through. Talk to the people.
Thank you so much, community. Thank you, John. Thank you to each panelist that came on today and told their story and helped me heal, helped me get a perspective of what I got going on. And I just want to piggyback on what Miss Loretta said. Like, you have to remove the fear, because there's people out there that will help you. And as Black women, as mothers, we sometimes have the fear of asking, or like someone said earlier, just telling your business. And it's not just telling your business, it's asking for help. The hardest thing to do is asking for help. People that I didn't even think that was going to show up for me during this process showed up for me. It was the opposite of people that I thought that was going to be there for me. And it was hard. It was hard to say, yes, I need some groceries. Yes, I need you to help bathe me. Yes, I need you to just come lay with me, you know? So don't be afraid to ask. And don't be afraid if people say no too, because even if that person says no, there's somebody else that may be able to step in and say yes.
Exactly.
And so we have to really, really remove the word fear, the feeling. And I'm still talking to myself as I'm speaking to community and as panelists. So thank you. This is a great first day back. I didn't want to miss this. And I'm so grateful that God allowed me to be here. Thank you, John, 1,000 times for trusting me to be your co-host and believing in me. And thank you to the ladies that want to still reach out to me after this platform. I really appreciate that, because that's what we need. We need a sisterhood. We need someone that's been through it, that's already gone through the process in order to keep ascending. Like John said, the visual is what we need, and I need the visual. So for anybody that's going through this process, just try your hardest to remove the fear. And the biggest thing is to keep your faith. We all will ascend together. Thank you, community.
Thank you very much. Powerful. I had to sit there and just take a deep breath. And thank you, Tony, for just allowing me to be a part of the journey, support and uplift you. So many times, people will shut down. And, the door is always open. Anything you need, we always support you here as we support community. I can't take care of the community and not take care of the people who push the vision, the mission of what we're doing in this organization to the people. Thank you again for being here today, for being the woman you are, the queen you are, the voice of the community, being that leader. Thank you. I can't say it enough. You're just powerful. I thank your mom again for bringing you to the community, that light, bringing you here so that community folk could feel the power, the realness, the love that you have for the people. So thank you again. And it's an honor to have you co-host. And it's been a challenge since you haven't been here because I don't have anybody to mess with me and keep me in order, okay? I've been out of control for the last couple of weeks. So I'm glad you're back to keep me in order, okay? But since you've been gone, okay, they have adopted a new name for me, Tony. The team is calling me the Bishop because every show that I end, they say, John, you act like you're in the pulpit. So with that being said, I'm going to honor the name of the Bishop, okay? I'm going to give my benediction. I'm going to take my towel and remove the sweat and give my benediction to the community before we leave today, because every show I have to wrap it up with something great for the community, because if I don't, they say, Bishop, where were you at? I didn't hear from you. You didn't give the benediction that I needed to get through the day. So with that being said, I'm going to end with the benediction for the community. Today has been powerful, community. You have heard many voices from some of the most powerful queens that walk through our communities. This conversation is emotional. It is touching. It is triggering. To go up and down through this conversation, to hear the pain, to hear the recovery, to hear the love, to continue to hear that we can still move forward even in the fear, even in the pain, we still have strength. When we talk about resilience in our community, you have seen some of the most resilient people today on this platform. It is so easy to give up when you receive bad news. Hear me again. It is so easy to give up when you hear bad news. Today, you have heard from women who have received that call of bad news, but they chose to take the news and rise. As Tony always say, it's sin. They didn't step into the fear of the news. They stepped into the outcome, the perseverance. The obstacles wasn't nothing. They continue to move. As a community, we must move when we get the bad news. We have to work together in solidarity to change the issues that continue to impact our community. All it takes is a voice, one voice. You heard the sisters say, the power is in the people. If we come together, change can happen. You have to believe, I have to believe that we can do this together. All it takes is a little ambition, a little love, a little gratitude, and we can make a lot of things happen in our community. When we talk about the narrative shift, the storytelling of the people, the voices, you have heard that today. We are going to uplift the people, the voices. We're going to talk about the disparities. We're not just going to sit here and talk about the problem. We're going to fix it with solutions. The solutions is the call to action. The solutions is you. You, what are you going to do to get involved? What are you going to do the next time you get a phone call and someone needs you? How are you going to show up? Community is all of our job. You have heard the panelists today talk continuously about mental health. Black folks, we got to start stepping into this. We can't sit back no more and say mental health is the devil. Mental health is this negative stigma. We have to welcome mental health in our community if we want to move forward. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of unpacking that needs to be done in our community, and it starts with mental health. You have to get the help. Sometimes Big Mama's not going to give you what you need. Sometimes the pastor is not going to give you what you need. Sometimes you have to speak to that professional folks that has the information and the knowledge that can walk you through it. It's just a process. Don't be ashamed. Don't be feared. You heard it all day. Step into your truth. Be open. Be vulnerable. Yes, it hurts sometimes, but we have to do it. There's no shame in telling the truth. There's no shame in telling folks the pain, the hurt, the disappointment that you have received or you've been through. We could do this as a community. Let's keep lifting each other up. We're going to do our part here. Let's keep lifting each other up. The opportunity is yours. This cancer that we are talking about in our community, we can remove it one person at a time if we embrace the change that we need to do. We need to eat better. We need to think better. We need to rest. We don't need the stress. We need peace. You heard Serene say, we need peace and serenity. Bring that into your life. Be a helping hand. Don't just talk about people, walk about with people, okay? We only grow through what we go through. Our communities have gone through enough. When do we love each other? When do we trust each other? When do we build each other up? That's what we need to do. The call to action is here now. Let's move it forward. Let's walk together. Let's make this change. We can do it, and we're going to continue to do it because we can do this as one. It's all love, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. It's been as a powerful, emotional conversation, but we made it through. You heard a lot of great information today, a lot of resources. Tap in. Be a part of the conversation. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. With that being said, we'll see you all next for our next live show, which was Tuesday at 7 p.m. for our Hidden Gem segment, where we will continue to uplift our Black and brown businesses, as well as those community leaders and folks that are doing positive things to impact our community. If that is you, you're running a business, or you know somebody that's doing something to impact our community, make sure you get them signed up. Nominate them as a Hidden Gem so that our community know who they are, where they at, and what they're doing. And then this Thursday, we're going to have another powerful educational Thursday, as we're going to have the CSJ folks and the Time Done folks come on here and educate our community about what's been taking place, so that we can be a part of the process and understand what's going on. Again, be safe out here. We made it through Halloween. There are more days coming up that's going to be treacherous for our community. We have to show up together. The holidays are here. Thanksgiving is coming. There's some families out there who need a meal. You be that gift to somebody this time of year. Make sure you're a blessing to somebody that's going through it. It is challenging times. Don't look down on nobody. Don't frown on anybody. Look at them, help them, and be open to make the change. And we can all do that. We're going to continue to do our part. Again, we're going to be impacting 10 families this holiday season. We're going to bless them in ways they haven't been blessed. All right? Because that's what we do. So be on the lookout. You'll see us in the community. Thank you all for tuning in, watching today's show. I know it's a little over, but hey, when you have powerful people like this, the energy just moves the room. Time don't even matter. We just get through it. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Again, go get tested. Go get checked. If you're feeling anything, go get checked so that we can prevent the stuff that's taking people out in our community, whether it's cancer or any other illness. Please do your part. Speak up and go get seen. With that being said, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great evening, and we'll see you all Tuesday. Tony, happy to see you back. How about them Cowboys, huh?